Jordan Clarkson and Guerschon Yabusele signed. Mike Brown calls the roster versatile. Knicks fans and media are hyped. But is this really a championship roster? Let's break it all down. Cap, defense, Josh Hart, trades, and how they stack up against real contenders. Mike Brown plays as Clarkson scoring, playmaking. Yabusele seen as a versatile stretch big. Media is saying these are the depth pieces that complete the contender build. Knicks channels reacting with excitement, but is it real? Now, Jordan Clarkson, this was a low-risk, high-reward move. To sign Clarkson for $2 to between $4 million, you can't beat it. But Clarkson is a career 40% field goal percent shooter in the playoffs. He gets hot, but he gets hunted defensively. And I haven't seen Clarkson play meaningful basketball in so long. So I'm gonna just hope the Knicks will get the best version of Jordan Clarkson there is. Yabusele, now this was a signing I actually like. Big body, he has a good shot, but he's unproven defensively, and he could be exposed in playoff rotation, so we're gonna have to see how that goes. I seen them workouts he was doing in the offseason, so hopefully he adds that to his game. That lateral quickness stuff he was doing. These are smart, low-cost bench pieces, but not game changers. They improve the scoring depth, keep New York under the first apron. As we know, the Knicks were a top 5 bottom team in bench scoring last year, so they would definitely help that. I don't believe these are needle movers for this team. But here's the key. It wasn't these signings that closed the door on more impactful moves, and I would have loved these signings even more if they had moved Josh Hart first or right after. Josh Hart is owed $62.5 million over the next 3 years. And that is way too much for a high-end role player, especially with his new CBA rules. And why Josh Hart gets love is because his rebounding, his hustle, chemistry with Brunson. He can be a good transition playmaker at times. And you know he'll do anything for a win. But the flaws are real and it can't be masked. He has no gravity on offense, left open constantly in the playoffs. He struggles against these bigger wings, Tatum, Siakam, Brown, etc. He shrinks the space for the entire team, most importantly, Cat and Brunson. He shot okay versus Detroit, but they sagged off. He has no gravity. Boston left him wide open. You remember that blunder when he shot the ball, when he was wide open, then he passed it midair and got called for a travel? No, it didn't get called for a travel. It might have bounced, actually. And the Pacers, he shot 25% from 3. They just packed the paint. Josh Hart is great versus weak matchups, but he isn't great the deeper you get into the playoffs. Not trading Josh Hart cost the Knicks real chances to add Dorian Finney-Smith, a guy who fits them perfectly, could switch 1 through 4. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, great point of attack defender, could slide right into the shooting guard with Brunson, could even bring up the ball at times. You could have targeted Bobby Portis. You could have signed a Bobby Portis, a guy who could start and come off the bench for you. And all of these guys signed for $4 to $5 million less than Josh Hart. And for that price, it doesn't make any sense for the Knicks not to trade Josh Hart and acquire one of them guys, because you would still have money left over to sign a Bruce Brown or Al Horford. Or you could have just cut that extra money from the Josh Hart contract and used it in the future trade or something. The Knicks had so many different directions they could have went if they traded Josh Hart, and would have had so much flexibility. I believe this was a huge window that they missed to add a Dorian Finney-Smith or someone like that. I don't know if they can add someone of that caliber. They can still trade Josh Hart, but I don't know if they can add someone of that caliber that'll fit the team perfect like that. Or not even perfect, just much better than Josh Hart. But we'll see. Now let's take a look at the defense of the main guys who are going to be in the rotation. OG Anunoby, elite. Mikal Bridges, good, can be elite at times. Mitchell Robinson, you know he's an anchor. Deuce McBride, he's a very good on-ball defender, but he's small. Jalen Brunson, he's targetable. Jordan Clarkson is a minus defender. Yabusele, he's slow laterally. Josh Hart is neutral to minus, great hustle, poor size. People seem to confuse hustle for good defense, which is not. It's a part of it, but it's not the main part. And Cat, we know he's a bad defender. He's below average in space. I don't even have to get into it with Cat. We know he's a bad defender. Now, these are probably going to be some closing lineups. And a lot of people want Deuce McBride to start at the shooting guard with Jalen Brunson. So it'll be Jalen Brunson, Deuce McBride, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, while this works, McBride can defend the point guard so Brunson can hide on spot-up shooters. He's undersized as well. And OG and Bridges can switch 2 through 4, while Cat is being Cat. Who knows what Cat is doing, if he's engaged or not, but Cat is being Cat. Now, it sounds good, but it's not that simple. Deuce McBride is 6'1". And we've seen the Knicks last year struggle with Josh Hart in the starting lineup against bigger teams like Atlanta and athletic teams that can just crash the offensive boards. OG would still be playing out of his natural position at the power forward, which he is not, as we seen last year. He can play power forward depending on the matchup, but he shouldn't be starting that power forward every game. And this is why you make that DFS signing or that Mikal Walker signing. You have someone who can slide right into that two-guard position naturally, or you could just sign Finney Smith and move OG back to his natural position at small forward. So this lineup can work, but teams are getting bigger and bigger, man. Now your best defensive lineup would be Deuce McBride at point guard, Mikal Bridges at shooting guard, OG at small forward. At the 4, depending on the matchup, it could be Josh Hart, Josh Hart, Yabusele, or Cat at the 4. At the 5, Mitchell Robinson. If Deuce McBride could just learn how to control the offense and run some point guard, that would be a blessing for this team. Which is why I believe the Knicks should have traded him in the swing for Lonzo Ball. Now, balanced two-way lineup, got Brunson, Bridges, OG, Guerschon, and Mitch. I'm going to say it again, depending on the matchup, it could be Josh Hart, Guerschon, or Cat. Now, we all know the Knicks have 4 to 5 bad defenders in their rotation right now. I don't think I will ever want to see this lineup. Brunson, Clarkson, Hart, Yabusele, and Towns. All 5 are either neutral or minus defenders. You'll get touched by any playoff offense. No rim protection, no POA defense. And I'm going to keep mentioning this throughout the video. This is why you trade Josh Hart and sign a DFS or Mikal Walker. And with signing one of them, you could have signed a Bruce Brown as well. Now let's take a look at the last few NBA champions and compare what they have to versus what the Knicks have right now. Now let's start with the most recent, the OKC Thunder. They don't have a defensive liability on the floor at any time of the game. Should I say more? I don't think they have any minus defenders that they play in their rotation. If that person is not a positive, they're at least neutral. And that is amazing. Their roster still amazes me to this day. Like, Prestige is a genius. I ain't even talking about the scoring yet. You know they have Shea, J-Dub, and they have a bunch of crunch time shot makers. So pound for pound, no, the Knicks cannot match OKC pound for pound. The Celtics, they had 2 two-way elite wings, 2 two-way guards who can guard the point of attack or switch almost 1 through 4, and a 7'3" center, Kristaps Porzingis, who can space the floor and protect the rim. You have Al Horford on the bench, Peyton Pritchard on the bench, Sam Hauser, and Luke Cornett on the bench, who played a pivotal role for the Celtics. That bench is not even that crazy. That starting 5 is just immaculate, and the Knicks do not have that. Now, the Nuggets, we know their main duo is Jokic and Murray. They have some smart wings, Aaron Gordon, Bruce Brown, and Michael Porter was playing exceptional that year. Now, we know Jalen Brunson and Cat is not Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. It's because Jokic is just different. We know Cat is nowhere close to Jokic. But if you watch that playoff run the Nuggets had, Jamal Murray was playing very good defense that year. People were trying to attack him on defense like he was the weak link on defense, and he was not letting it happen. And that 2-man game between Jokic and Murray was just unstoppable, man. If Mike Brown could turn Cat into Jokic for a season, then the Knicks may have a chance, but I highly doubt that. 2022 Warriors, we know the defensive IQ, the switchability of that team, the starters and the bench. It was impeccable. You have Draymond, that was probably his last prime year. That's probably the last of Steph Curry's prime year too, even though he's still great. Same with Clay. They had Otto Porter, they had Jordan Poole, they had a bunch of guys. Andrew Wiggins stepped up, Kevon Looney stepped up. They even got Otto Porter, a healthy Otto Porter for the whole season. That's still crazy to me. And the Bucks, we know they had Giannis, Drew, and Middleton. Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez, damn. Knicks don't have an elite wing shot creator like those teams had, or a center. Not even a center, a Giannis or a Jokic. Of course, they have Brunson, but Brunson can't do it by himself, as we see. They don't have enough rim pressure. Too many small, slow defenders. Clarkson, Deuce, and Yabusele isn't enough off the bench, and Josh Hart. First of all, they're all undersized for their position, and are all limited defensively somehow, some way. As I said, the Knicks had 4 to 5 neutral to minus defenders in their rotation. That is a huge problem. Not for the regular season, for the NBA playoffs. That is a huge problem. You need to be able to mix and match a bunch of lineups. You need to be able to go big, small, quick, long, pause, athletic. the Knicks still don't have that versatility yet. Now, some guys the Knicks need to target for Josh Hart before it's too late, who they can save money by trading for these guys and still sign an extra player, or just have extra money saved over for their cap. It's PJ Washington, Herb Jones, and Najee Marshall, who I believe are all better player performers than Josh Hart and better fits for this team. Now, Herb Jones is probably a long shot because New Orleans is trying to treat him like Brooklyn was treating Mikal Bridges. But PJ and Najee should be more realistic now that they got Cooper Flagg and they have a very deep wing rotation. Max Christie, Caleb Martin still. That's probably too gutsy of a trade for the Knicks. Too much media questioning about the Josh Hart when they know that they can do better, but it's too much media questioning for them to handle. And probably the Brunson aspect, which I don't care about and which you don't have time to think about right now because you're trying to win a championship. They need to upgrade from Deuce. Get an Ayo DeSomo or something. I wanted them to trade Deuce to sign a Trey Man. Lonzo was my first option. I wanted them to trade for Lonzo, but if they can get an Ayo DeSomo for Deuce, that would be an upgrade. And the only way you can do a trade like that is if you trade a Josh Hart. All this stuff revolves back to Josh Hart because he makes too much money, man. For this team cannot afford a $20 million Josh Hart contract, respectfully. He's a very good player. I love Josh Hart, but he's not worth that for this team. The Knicks are close. They are very close. The deepest they've been in decades. But defense and offense, this team still needs work. Clarkson and Yabu are helpful, but this team has bigger issues they need to address. Hart's value is overstated when you're aiming for a ring, and this front office might not be the guys to realize that. But only time will tell. What do you think? Should the Knicks trade Josh Hart before it's too late? And should they upgrade from Deuce McBride, a 6'1" shooting guard who's not good at running the offense at point guard? The only reason he's playing shoot guard because he can't run